Hey, good evening, everybody. We are back, and it is a Monday. I saw somebody in the chat wondering why we were doing a show on Monday. Well, we used to do a lot more shows on Monday. We scaled things back a little bit, but whenever the opportunity presents itself, we will do a show here on Monday. So if you enjoy talking about comic book artwork and illustration artwork, the narrative arts in general, you've come to the right place, everybody. So tonight we're going to be doing a Heritage illustration preview with you. So I've got our regular guest for that, Sarahjane Blum, here with us. So welcome to the show, Sarahjane. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me back. It is always one of the funnest ways I can spend a late night working.
I like to hear that. Well,
Yeah.
and obviously I do this a lot. So if it wasn't fun, it would be a pretty miserable existence. But hey, we were talking about shows and stuff. But and we just finished saying San Diego's a good show. Did you enjoy yourself while you were at San Diego?
Oh, I had a great time. Yeah. I mean, it was a really wonderful mixture this year, actually, of seeing all these people who I know and I love seeing every year, and then a bunch of people who I don't know, and even some people who came up to say how much they enjoy watching us talk. So that was really something I got a kick out of. Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, every year, and I told this, I've said this on the channel a few times, but I dread San Diego, and then when I'm there, I actually have a great time. Every single time it feels like that, at least the last, many times that I've gone, because it is, it's a cross country track, and the show's always crowded, but it didn't even feel that crowded this year, surprisingly. I mean, the lines, at least the stuff that I wanted to do, were relatively short, and there wasn't one conversation that I didn't get to have because somebody was too busy to talk with.
Yeah, and I think that I think that it's a it felt like a really nice balance. Like the energy felt a little like pre-COVID
Hmm.
without it necessarily just feeling, as sardiny. So I liked it. Yeah, I was pretty happy. I was super excited that the Lucas conversation happened, about the museum. I wasn't able to go, I didn't even think about trying to, never
No,
has it occurred to me to try to get into Hall H in my whole life, but I really enjoyed watching that on YouTube. So, I think that, it felt like there was a lot of really good energy around actually the art.
agreed. So what do you think of the Lucas Museum opening in 2026? I mean, I think it's going to be a great thing for the industry in general, but as someone who's curated a lot, and now you work with Heritage and Illustration, and what do you think the Lucas Museum is going to do for collectors and those who are enthusiastic about this industry?
I mean, I think it's a giant vote of confidence that um, loving what you love and being excited about what you're excited about is actually really the best way to stay connected to your creativity, the best way to really kind of appreciate culture. I think that, from everything I know, and I haven't seen anything, I'm excited, I am excited to um, see the way they're going to curate it and the way that it is going to really, dive into the storytelling aspect of it, which is something that's always really, drawn me in. Like that's definitely where I came at it from first, looking at images and, you know, thinking about what they were telling me beyond just, like beyond just the technical proficiency of them, or even sometimes just beyond the moment in the story, like what they were telling me about the artist, about culture, about all of that, how they all connect together like little puzzles. So that's one of the fun things about going to a well curated museum, that like it just gives you a chance to both enjoy things in person you never get to see, and then also like see them all fit together. Yeah.
Mhm. No, I agree. I thought the presentation was short, right? I think it was only like 45 minutes with Del Toro and
Yeah.
Lucas up there, but it was I was inspired after it was done. I thought Del Toro had a lot of great points, and just the idea that it's the people's art. I mean,
Yeah.
this has been going on for ages, right? I mean,
Oh,
drawing stories, the illustrated words, and we're just in a different era of it, and and experiencing it through novels and comics and and you name it. I just think it's wonderful. we've been in this hobby for a long time as far as collecting original art, whether it's illustration art or comic book art, and uh, it's just nice to have people at that level recognizing the importance of what we've been collecting all this time. We're not, well, we are smaller subset of pop culture and fandom. It was wonderful to just have that, confirmation that
Yeah.
what we're doing is worthwhile. That and Lucas has known it forever. I mean, he was part owner in that. I had the name of the comic shop at the tip of my tongue now. I've forgotten it in New York, even in the early '70s. Super Night, and they had a gallery. But he was part owner in that, so he's like been involved in the arts before even people were collecting, Marvel and DC art early on. I mean,
Yeah.
he knew what he liked. So super snipe. Marcus got it in there for me. Yeah, thank you for confirming. I only say it once a year, and I don't know why I don't remember that. But at any rate, I felt the same way. I thought it was fantastic, and I can't wait to make my first trip there. And I mean, I was even emailing with a gentleman from Australia, talking who's never been to OAX but wants to come to OAX, and they said, you know what? If when I can make it, when I can hit the Lucas Museum and OAX in the same trip, I'm coming. So I get it. I
You
think
did tell them they're not that close, right?
I did tell him that. But for a guy from Australia, right, that's like a 16-hour flight probably just to get to LA. So what's another 5
It's true.
hours
It's true. You
to
got to
go
stop. You
where
got to
I live?
stop through one way or another.
Exactly, exactly. But hey, again, you know what I mean. I think it's wonderful. I can't wait to go. I'm just excited to see the artwork that they're going to present there, how they're going to curate different shows and cycle things out, because it's not going to be all about the movies and the things that he's worked on. I mean, I think he mentioned he has a collection of over 10,000 pieces of art. I just can't imagine the breadth of the material that
Yeah.
he has. There you go. Casper says if we make an OAX in Vegas, you wouldn't even need a flight. You could just hop in a car and be there in a few hours, I think. But there's no plans for an OAX Vegas. I can say that right now. Nothing formal anyway. So
I was hoping we were getting a scoop. I was hoping you heard it here first.
no, sorry, not yet anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're content in Orlando at least for another year or two. I don't think we'll be expanding right away. But yeah, you never know. So when we were in Vegas, all right, I just want to go to Vegas now. Thanks, Casper, for that. When we were at San Diego, we were talking about the next time we would be doing one of these things, and I think the next signature auction is that October or November?
It's November 4th. The next illustration art signature auction is, and it's going to be a biggie. Every day something new I'm excited about comes in, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But yeah.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to that. But the funny thing was, as you mentioned, that there was this smaller auction going on, and I checked it out when I got back from San Diego, and it was surprising. There's a lot of great pieces in here. I mean, it's not just a half pen and ink illustrations and half just mediocre average illustration pieces. There's a lot of notable artists in it, and for me, I mean, there's a Shannara piece in here that I wish I had the money to own, and even that the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath piece just reminds me, of reading those stories back in the day from that book, right, and with that cover. I mean, so there's a lot of for me memorable pieces in this one. So it just made sense for us to have this talk tonight.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that we are, and I'm so glad that you're responding to it, because I think for us, one of the points of having these showcase auctions, it's not always just about like what some sort of thresholds of value, or elevating certain things over other things. It's about the fact that I think one of the best ways to grow the hobby and grow collecting is to give people an opportunity to collect. I want everybody to have more chances in the year to see stuff that's going to light them up. And I want to be able to, tell some of these stories and like showcase these pieces in a way where they're not necessarily getting lost in, a giant auction that only happens a couple of times a year. So I'm glad that you noticed that this isn't just like, oh, the stuff we didn't bother to put in the signature. There's really, something we're trying to do that excites us, and we hope it excites everybody else too.
Right. And I think keeping, rather than spacing 3 or 4 major auctions out throughout the year, having smaller showcase auctions like this keeps everybody engaged. Like putting
Yeah.
the illustrate, what is it, like maybe 15 to 20 illustration pieces into
Mhm.
the Wednesday weekly auction is a good thing.
Yeah.
I think there was a piece, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, that maybe was the second highest selling item for the week, was one of the illustration pieces again.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see. And again, I'm still forgetting to look at them because I only filter on comic book art, but I'm getting better. I did look this at the last CAF update. I did look specifically only at the illustration art to kind of make sure that I
Yeah.
wasn't going to miss any important pieces. But yeah, Stingray knows the cover as well. So yeah, no, Lovecraft is was always fun, and it's always interesting when they reissue books and they change the covers and try to get a different era of a reader to pick up those
Mhm.
books off the shelves. I mean, there was a couple pieces that I didn't pick that reminded me so much of like 80s sci-fi, like novella magazines that I remembered seeing that were in this auction that I thought about picking, and I'm like, I'll skip over that. But it's just, it's interesting when those images are very evocative of a specific time period. Like when I look at that,
Yeah.
I know that was done in the 80s. That was on an Asimov, book or something very similar to that. So yeah, I don't know. That's one of the reasons I've always loved illustration art. There's just so many areas, whether it's crime, science fiction, horror, fantasy, you name it.
Yeah.
It gives you a lot of there's just so much fun material to go through, and ironically, it like falls right in line with like a lot of the gaming stuff that was happening in the beginning of the late 70s through the 80s into the early 90s. Just like TSR was coming out with crime books, superhero book,
Yeah.
story games, espionage, you name it, and all of those things fall right into the stuff that was the pulp magazines from the 50s and 60s. It's
Yeah.
it's funny that it's just recycled in different ways and the stories are told differently, but um, illustration and drawings and paintings are always a part of all of them.
Yeah, and I think that, it's interesting because you think about it like when you're looking when you hear the stories about pulp magazines so often, and when you hear the stories about, sometimes like movie posters, they're like they'll give you the name that the movie's going to have, or the premiere story and the magazine's going to have. They're like, don't even read it. Just paint what you think it should look like. And because they're not actually trying to accurately represent what's in it. They're trying to give you the feeling that you're going to be excited, when you engage with the product. And that's how powerful they know art is sometimes. And there's a lot of cases where it ends up being a little disappointing, and you go, you go and you read it and you go, this is actually just about, a spaceship breaking down. I didn't actually see these two aliens fighting, but it's really just a reminder that like we're influenced by all of the elements of the past, but the visual is so immediate. The visual just like it just binds to you. Yeah.
Yeah, quite true. And it was interesting as I was going through everything. I don't believe there's a work of art in color that has yellow as like the main highlight. Everything. So they're not using those older pulp tactics on
Yeah.
trying to catch your eye on a shelf. That was right.
Yeah. No,
One of the
I
pieces
don't
that
I
we're going to
don't
look at.
I don't think no, I don't think so. I think that yeah, we just did a sale of Western art, which yeah, they leaned really heavily into the yellow and Western pulps. But yeah, it's true. The crime, it goes darker. The yeah, and the more modern stuff, it really went away from that. So
Hmm. Very true. Well, why, we've got like 40 pieces to talk about. So
yeah.
let's just go ahead and dive into these. I'm going to have to resize I actually got the screen kind of close.
Uh,
All right. So I did leave them in the order that you sent them. At least I think I did.
and I think that I'm going to tell you there's a little bit of thought in the order that I sent them, and then also a little bit of me just getting frustrated with technology and going, did I just send you the same link 3 times? So, but yeah, but we're gonna walk through kind of the main themes of the sale because there is some great early pulp, and this is an artist, Frederick Blakesley, who I think he's fascinating. And one of the things that's fascinating about him is he was such a specialist. He did every single cover for this title, Daredevil, and Aces, and then also all of these other Aviation Pulp titles. He started out working at working as a draftsman at an aviation company, and just went on to know more about this era in aviation. He would do covers like this for the magazines, and then there would be a ledger on the inside of the magazine cover that would tell you about each and every plane and how they actually worked. And I don't know much about planes. I'm just gonna lay that out there. But this makes me feel the same way that looking at all the science fiction that we're going to look at later makes me feel, like that something that I don't even believe could necessarily be real, has just grabbed me and pulled me in. And of course, this is actual technology, and the sci-fi stuff is, imaginary technology. But I really love thinking about the connections of how powerfully all of these innovations, as they were happening so fast, just drew people in and got people really enthusiastic about, thinking about what else we can do, and how there's this really clear through line in kind of in the way in which, popular culture started getting really enchanted, terrified, all of the ways that, these technological innovations made you feel, and how that kind of those changes just ripple through all the other stuff. So I think this is really cool. I think he's a really underappreciated artist by people who, have not been thinking about the aviation pulps, but he's great. And I love this scene. It's just so dramatic and so fun.
It is. I just love it's mostly shapes that, that were for the planes and the shipyard, but it works really well. Even the explosions, they're just kind of, the way they're laid out. I like this illustration a lot.
Yeah.
And it's, like for the, what year was this done?
This
73?
one's this one's
Right?
32. This was
Oh,
very early.
32. Oh,
Yeah.
that's their, okay. I'm looking at the,
Yeah.
the URL.
I might be wrong, but I'm fairly sure that one is like I said, he did all of the covers for this
32.
magazine. Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah.
Well, wow, there, that's how it's printed.
Yeah. I mean, and you also think about, like it also feels so much, like it's got a very also like early superhero comic cover vibe to it. Like
Hmm.
you can kind of see some of that in the way that it is mostly, shapes in a lot of ways. And like there's a lot of things that are really telegraphed about it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Very nicely done. Now, have you sold work since you've been with Heritage from Blakesley
No,
already,
it
or is
doesn't
it
come up.
something
It
new?
doesn't come up that much. Yeah, for as prolific as he was, I can't think of anything that we've offered of. And I forgive me if I'm wrong, but I have sold his work privately in the past. But I was pretty excited when I came upon this and saw it in person, because yeah, it's not something you see every day. Especially, I mean,
Right.
these pulps, they're really renowned for a lot of them disappearing. They because they were, they're literally called pulps because they're printed on this cheap paper, a lot of times by like fly by night publishing houses, more even than most of this art that wasn't expected to stand the test of time. It just disappeared. So, yeah, nice to see it in
I didn't
person.
think we had mentioned their name before, so that was why I
Yeah.
called.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Then I know you did pick a few illustrations in here. So this is let's see, this is done in what year? 1937. So another piece from the
Yeah.
30s. Got that.
And I
Uh,
mean, yeah, I love the restraint on this one.
mhm.
If the other one was like everything, this is really, really doing a lot with a little. Yeah.
Oh, it's a lovely technique with the brush, that's for sure. I mean, when we look at modern art and artists working in comics and things, and you think that there's, oh, that's so innovative, and then you realize, well, illustrators have been, utilizing certain brushstroke techniques
Yeah.
for a long time to shape things or to show action or, et cetera. And yeah, I mean, I look at this and I can think of a few modern comic book illustrators who, who had to have seen things like this. I mean, right? It's just, it's a lovely piece.
Yeah, and and I also love the way, like it had like the way the tusks are being used to draw the eye up, and there's all this kind of like white space that's bringing you to the top figure, so you can really tell what's going on. Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. Let's see. And I should say, I know it does say 7 days left in the auction. Does that mean that they are closing next Monday, or is it Tuesday? Because I know it
I
kind of gets a little
I
funny.
believe that it is. You're going to ask me what for the days of the week, that it is next Tuesday, the 26th.
Right, the 20, yeah, I
Yeah,
just saw that up here on 26.
yeah,
So yeah, Tuesday. I know I always see that and I think it doesn't really mean 7 days. It really means 8 days. But
yeah.
we're at that moment where, okay, so these are all, so there you go, everybody. This auction and all the lots we're going to be looking at will be closing next Tuesday.
Yeah. I know. Now
Yeah.
we're gonna keep on some of the black and white interior stuff, because there's no master like Virgil Finlay.
No, this was amazing. I had to zoom in on it a few times just to kind of see how it was done. But I love Virgil's work. I mean, there's a fair amount of his work on calf, thankfully,
Yeah.
but there's always just something really nice and unique to find within his work. I love all the cross hatching done on here,
Yeah.
and no, this is yeah, that Marcus says skulls. Yeah, there's at least one skull on there, but no, this
Uh,
is wonderful. And again, a late 1930s piece again.
I believe so. The year on that one's escaping me, but yeah, I really love all of the different expressions on the faces. I was thinking about that for a while today when I was looking at it. Just like how much, how much fun he was obviously having with it.
Yeah, and it's one of the higher uh, priced lots right now too. I think as far as bidding goes,
Yeah,
$2,600
people
on that.
people have not been sleeping on that one, but and I can see why, If
Hmm.
I woke up and saw that somebody had outbid me on it, you know, I'd be tempted to go, not for long.
And what's the size on something like this?
It's
Oh
not
my
too
gosh, it's really
big.
small too. Five and a
Yeah.
half by 5.5. That's incredible.
I mean, that's how he worked a lot of the time, just with like I think that's a lot of how he got that precision. And some people work, like some people they like to kind of explore and work loose and work big, and I think he really thrived when he was able to really just be like precise and contained like this.
Yeah, nope, I agree. I like this one. It's already framed. Put it right up on the wall, and it doesn't even take up a lot of space. You can put
It's
another piece by Virgil on either side, and you're still doing all right. Plenty of room. No, I think it's wonderful. I really like it a lot. Now, let's see. Oh, Frank Paul. Now I think we've looked at a few pieces by them before. This is another. What year is this one? 1940.
yeah.
And this would have been used in with a book. I imagine
This
an
is this is
illustration of
another
there.
this is another this is another Pulp magazine. Obviously, it's a two-page spread. You can see down the middle where the break is. But yeah, this is what he really loved doing as well. These kind of like architectural yet fantastic scenes. So, um, in the same way that like the with Virgil Finlay and the skull, like a weird hot air balloon Christmas ornament in the sky. I don't know what we're going to call that, but those are the first two things I think of. That feels like Paul to me. And then I really also just I really love this old city being destroyed moment, because I mean I think that's something that is just it's such a forever trope in all of our in all of our larger than life stories. You think about, you can't see a superhero movie without seeing people just walking down the street, smashing buildings. You can't, think about King Kong and Godzilla. You can't think about like the ways in which we tell, giant stories without thinking about the ways in which we, worry about our man-made world. And I think this is just such a, it feels almost, so it feels like it might have been something that was a history, was history, like telling, because that's what we're used to seeing things like this look like. But it's just another one of our, fantasy stories about our cities under siege.
Right. I mean, it's the second seaport that we've seen now with some kind of, whether that's a balloon or an alien spaceship, something, it's some kind of battle going on above it. I think it's an awesome illustration. I like that Rich Danny said it was an early vintage DPS. Yes, there's probably not many older than this one, Rich, that's out there. But yeah, no, this is fun. I mean, it does make you wonder what the story is all about.
It's true. But you know what? It didn't make me wonder quite enough to want to know, because like the artists who are making the pieces, I think sometimes it's just more fun if you make it up as you go along.
Right.
So I did no research for this show, everybody.
Mm-hmm. No, nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's I don't even think, when I'm thinking about the auctions that we've looked at before, I mean, traditionally, I don't think Heritage shows maybe how something was used in publication too often. I mean, they certainly don't do that in comic book artwork, but on the illustration side, where it might have a little bit more context, I was a little surprised to see that first piece that we looked at with the biplanes, for instance, to actually see the published cover with that. So I don't know. You're right. It is kind of fun.
I like to when I can. If somebody actually has a copy of the magazine and was nice enough to give it to us to sell with the work, I'm going to try to show it, because I do like it, and it's just at some point, I think that there's only 24 hours in each and every day, as much as I try to convince myself that's not true. But yeah, it would if AI gets good enough, or if all of a sudden I, manage to clone myself, I might start trying to put in all the usages, because I do think it's also less familiar to people. Like you looked at that and you thought, oh, I think that's probably in a book. I look at that and I go, no, that I know immediately that's going to be, double page Pulp spread. I can see, in my mind what the text looks like and where it is. And I would love for everybody to, start knowing that. And one of the things that's happening is more and more people are coming into pulps, because they're being introduced to it, because we're having such great enthusiasm about the graded pulps. There's a lot of people who are getting into pulps without having had like readable copies, so they're still not as familiar, which I think that's great. I want everybody to get into pulps however you get in, but I think find yourself a beat up copy and read it. Yeah.
But yeah, it is a thing now, right? Grading pulps. I've seen it pop up in my Facebook feed a little bit more, and I think I've seen a few more pulps in Heritage Auctions, and just all around in other marketplaces. And it's just it's interesting to see. They'll grade anything right now, right? I mean, they'll slab it, but yeah. Anyway, I think this is a great illustration, and I guess I should appreciate the fact that I don't know what's going on, but it's still a wonderful.
I mean, but you can also, but it's fun. I mean, it's fun to want to know what's going on. And Rich points out that Glenn Crane would know more about it. I'm sure he would know exactly what it is. And if somebody clips this and sends it to me, he's welcome to text me and call me out for not doing my research.
See, and again, look, there's an actual. It's got the published cover with this one too. So this is Kelly Freed. So this is this is a 1971 piece. So
yeah. I mean, we're getting newer, but I think I really, I like this one next to that one, because I do like, thinking about the shapes, thinking about the connections between, the ways in which our imaginations take hold by loving this stuff, the ways in which, these artists' imaginations are informed by one another. Yeah. And I mean, I just think this is just a really fun work. Talk about restraint again. There's just so much emptiness. So you really do capture that. You do capture the sense of space, and yet there's something so kind of prosaic about barbed wire, so ordinary about it, that you get this sense of reality that kind of makes it more impactful, in my opinion.
Yeah, looks like a little bit of airbrush maybe used
Mhm.
on this piece.
Mm.
I don't know, maybe not. But Freeze was definitely very prolific, right? I mean, as far as science fiction artists go, there's a
Yeah.
fair amount of their work out there. But yeah, this is fun. Nice cover.
Yeah. And then Analog's just a great title, for like the science fiction digests, Analog's one of my favorites, and really, like, for especially like some hard science fiction, and this just feels so, it feels so right for an Analog cover too.
I agree. Now, uh, this is a fine. Well, again, it's Freeze again. This is something later, right? 1990. Is that
Yeah.
accurate?
Yeah,
Wow.
this is later. I mean, but it's obviously so throwback, it's so,
Hmm.
this is, it's so Finlay inspired, it's so, Pulp inspired, and I wanted to point out that, there's more Freeze in the sale. It's not just these two. We were lucky enough to really get a number of pieces that kind of take you through the whole course of his career. And yeah, if that one felt like realistic, this one feels so cartoony in a
Right.
really great way.
And this was in a Gateway Trip book interior. I'm not, but anyway, so it's a lovely illustration and a
Yeah.
unique technique too, right? It's not stippling, it's not cross hatching, it's just little noodling around on this thing to make the give the thing some depth.
Yeah. And yeah, this is a whole
Beautiful.
illustrated. There's a long series of illustrations from this book. I think we've seen some of them come up in some of the weeklies. We see them pop up every so often. You just see some of these pop up because this was a really robustly illustrated project he did.
What's the size on this one too? Let's see.
It's another
Uh,
wee one, easy to frame.
yeah, 6.5 by 8.25. That's
Yeah.
right. I always loved his signature too. I mean, you're not gonna mistake that for anybody else's.
Yeah. But yet, if you don't know it's his, you're never gonna guess. Like,
Right. That is true. That is very true. Oh man, let's see. Another Dan Atkins, a name many comic art collectors are familiar with. So this
yeah,
was from a Digest magazine illustration.
yeah. And I think that's mostly why I chose it, because there's so much crossover that we don't think about, of where these people are working, how they're working, and yeah, like the ways in which the genres are informing each other, because by the time the digest magazines are coming around, yeah, they mentioned this in 1966, you've kind of created these very instantly recognizable storytelling styles in comics. So yeah, doing the faces this way, it becomes this vernacular for people to bring them into a story in a really unique particular way.
Hmm. Right, and you get science fiction on TV, and that influenced the illustrations as well, and the technology as they're drawing it. But yeah, again, this one's really nice. Just the different, again, the techniques to ink it or use some zipatone on it.
Yeah.
It's a very fun piece.
And yeah, and everybody had that was the only outfit you could have
That's
if you're a
right.
fictional character in space. Yeah.
Well, whenever I think or what I see a still or something from like even Space 1999, I don't even remember what years those came out. I mean, it was the same kind of style though, right? They were your well-dressed spaceman on their not on Earth any longer.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. This one though, I came back to this one a couple times just because such a kind of a haunting space image for me. I mean, this clearly this. I don't why even bother trying to rescue this poor gentleman. He's not going to make it. But I mean, I don't know. It's just there's something about the
Yeah.
determination in that one guy's face that he's gonna bring this guy back. But yeah.
I
But
mean,
where's he gonna?
that's what makes it human, and we don't know. There could be a whole body regenerating machine on that spaceship again.
On the spaceship that's
Like
sinking in the sands too, though. So, it's like I don't either way, I thought this was great. I love this. This,
yeah,
this was one of my favorite images of well, I have a few other ones too, but I did this one I just thought was awesome. I love the colors on it. I love the spacesuits are kind of unique. Almost look
yeah.
like scuba gear kind of thing. And I don't even know what I didn't. This is 1955.
Yeah,
So
and I mean, and that's an interesting point. You notice that, like, it's 1955. All the spacesuits look a little different. Like, we haven't gotten that, formalization of what we're supposed to think it looks like to go into space. And I really do. I also really like something that's pretty unusual about it. Like when you're looking at a lot of space art, and I'll warn everybody, we're looking at a lot of space art tonight. Is that most of the scene is taken up by what's happening, on the ground, like on the planet, and the darkness of space is only, the top third or even quarter, which, a lot of these scenes, they want to make sure you feel like you're in space. So the people are little, or even if they're not, somehow they're making space feel really big. And here, yeah, space feels, kind of smaller. Like, you get to the top of the rocket or the tip of the spaceship and the top of, this guy's communicator, and there's not much ground left, and that's all going to be covered, with the text.
yeah, no, I still love this image. Even though everybody's giving me grief in the chat. Derek said, "Don't put Bill in charge of the rescue missions." He's just gonna say
I,
he's a goner. No, just leave him. Get everybody
unless
back to the
it's
ship.
like, what if there's a third guy just, that we just can't see, who's being like, man, we're all gonna die, you don't know.
That's
Yeah.
true. All right. My leadership has been put into question, but
I
it's all
I
right.
I trust you.
Oh boy. Anyway, I think this image is wonderful.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. I love even the space as just a solid black with
Yeah.
the stars just popping out of it. It just works so well. I mean, Rich called it like a latte colored planet. It doesn't matter. It just the contrast between the two just works so well that yeah, I think this is a great piece.
But I gotta say, if anybody ever gives you something with latte art that looks like that, don't drink it. Just don't drink it.
There you go. And this one's doing all right too. So I'll be curious to see. The artist on this one, we didn't mention it.
That's
Ed
Ed Valigursky, yeah,
Valigursky.
who hugely, yeah, prolific and influential artist in kind of mid-century science fiction. So yeah, this is really, and really, yeah, really known for kind of like the unique strangeness of his work, which you can totally see here. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm gonna, here, I'm just gonna literally take that window aside and I'm gonna do some research on Ed to see his other works.
Yeah.
All right. So Hilda Hughes. This is not an
Huh,
artist I'm
I don't
familiar
know
with.
how this this is what I was saying, that I think some things might have just gotten into strange places, but I so yeah, so then, we're not just doing space art, we're doing, a lot of great paperback art, and this whole Gothic paperback woman running down a hill, I you know it's a kind of perennially popular genre. Everybody feels it. You feel like the dark shadows of it all. You feel the connection to like Gothic literature in the past, and yet it always feels like something that's immediately restful. And I really like, we're not going to talk much about yellow, but we've been talking about black, and we're going to definitely talk about this blood red. Like every time this blood red shows up, because it shows up a lot, it's a color way that people are really familiar with in terms of, fantasy art. It's a, very like like almost a Vampirella red. It's a very, you know, it's the red that screams like sex and danger all at once. And you know, so I think this is a really beautiful example of this, you know, genre of art, which I think is it's something that people really love and that people can get at really approachable prices. So, you know, if you see this and like you're drawn into it and it tells you a story, you know, you can pick things like this up.
Yeah, no, I like this one a lot. I know this isn't the
Yeah,
only red cloak that we're going to see tonight either,
it
but
isn't. Yeah.
but again, the lighting on this piece is great. I love how soft the sky, the fire. I mean, you know, the backgrounds are, and then just the fun attention to detail, the things that they chose to focus on. You know, with just primarily the character and the branches here and the rocks. But yeah, no, this you know, if the house wasn't on fire, this would be a classic, you know, romance novel cover.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there's a large. It's not even a hint of tragedy in this one.
And that one too, I think we have the book with it. So if you click through the photos, you'll see how it appears on the cover of the paperback. So yeah.
There we go.
And you can see that it's
The
kind of
Devil's Sonata. Hmm.
yeah. I actually like it better when you can see the full piece. I think that like the cover loses those trees you were talking or the branches you were talking about. And yeah. Oops. But you can kind of see what it was doing, just that whole genre of like giving that sense of like romantic menace. Mm.
Yeah, that's it's a great piece, and you're right. I mean, look at how much art was there that was cropped for the published book.
Yeah. And I think that might be something that is a little, you know, that is, you know, one of those places where there are distinctions between, you know, illustration and comic art as you're just, you know, learning kind of to read it, to, you know, to read the page. That since there was so much uniformity to how, like, by and large, you know, comic artists are working and they know, you know, they know how their work is going to be translated much more. You don't see quite as much of that of like, huh, I would have never expected that to actually look like this.
Exactly. I like this. I really do. Everybody else
Mhm.
seems to like this too, and they're
Yeah.
coming up with their own stories. Someone's touching the pyro, you know, and again, it's back to illustration, and we can dream up whatever we want with these
Yeah.
pieces. Oh, let's see. Oh, well, here you go.
Yeah.
Um, Star Trek. You know, we how could we not have something from Star Trek in this auction? But this is from Eddie Jones, and so this was done in '73. I
Yeah.
got it to zoom in here. I mean, the colors on this one are very garish. You know, that
Yeah.
blue, the yellow, the green. It's very radioactive.
Yeah. And Eddie Jones did a ton of Star Trek paperback covers that were published in the US, but Eddie Jones also did this whole series of Star Trek stuff for the German market that basically was published, not quite the equivalent of German TV Guide, but he was commissioned to do all this stuff in advance promotion and promotion of when Star Trek was coming to German TV. So that's a lot of what this was. So I think that's a really interesting thing too. Of like, it's you you're used to, by and large, after you get through the like first couple of years, seeing Star Trek advertising being Star Trek shown the way people already know what Star Trek is. You know, like it's giving you a little bit more detail on the character. It's giving you a little bit, but you're expecting that the audience is going to really know what Star Trek is, and this is just really reintroducing Star Trek to a lot of people who aren't necessarily that familiar and trying to get them psyched about it. I don't know. I can't imagine being a person who didn't know what Star Trek was or not being psyched about it, but I think this could do it.
Sure. I mean, did Eddie Jones work on anything Star Trek related before doing these German magazines, you know, or is that
Yeah, I think he was already working on some of the books. Yeah.
so it makes sense that
Mhm.
they would hire him
Yeah.
then to do
Mhm.
these as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's see. No, I was gonna say there's no published image with this one.
No,
So.
but these are harder to find. We also have, I believe, we have one or two of the black and white pieces that he did for the same series, and you can sometimes find those published in. They were published as a folio at some point, so you can sometimes find the folio pages, which do just look identical to the art. But it's pretty hard to. It's a lot harder to find, non-American magazines, especially in America. And some of that's probably just not knowing how to search for things in the German language. And some of it is like we started, we produce things in larger content than a lot of countries. And also, we a lot of times did have more of a collecting community going on earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's a good one. No. Here we go. No cloak on this next piece though, but it is a Ken Kelly Vampirella.
It is. It is a Ken.
1995.
I think I've just determined that, I can't come on this show and not have one. Every so often, I was really looking to see if there was a Betty Page hiding anywhere in this that I could also have, but I couldn't find any way to do that tie-in. But yeah, we're gonna at least always have a Vampirella if I can help it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, nothing wrong with that. Kelly studied, I mean, I love Kelly's work. I mean, I've always been a fan, and he does, he's got all the colors down, the lighting perfect, and yep, Vampirella looks great.
And the bats look great too, like that's
Yeah, nice collars. Marcus always likes to point out the collars. They are interesting. And Rich Danny's mentioned something about the last piece. I didn't think to ask, but I was zooming in on it. So the name here.
This is what he used for a lot of this Star Trek work, and I don't happen to actually know why. A lot of times when people were using pseudonyms, it was because of a contract dispute or something like that. I don't know the story of why so much of his work was signed Fantoni, but it was.
Oh, but there you go, right on the back. If I would have looked at that, okay.
Oh.
Interesting. Well, there you go.
And maybe the next time I have an Eddie Jones to talk about, I'll learn the answer to that question and have it handy.
All right. And, so this piece is doing well too. Already 1,500. And I know you have a couple pen and ink pieces coming up here. So Boris Vallejo from 1984. Let's click on that one. That's very classically done figure work here. I mean, even the illustration style just looks just wonderful. I mean, the musculature on the back. I mean, everything you'd want out of a piece by Boris, right? Strong male and female characters in it, and you get a vampire bat larger than them both as well. I mean, that's interesting in and of itself.
And I mean, this could have gone anywhere. We could have put this like after the Finlay and been, thinking about it in terms of that heritage of how people are doing line work. Here it's right next to another very, very interesting bat. And, I think, the enchantment book it's great because, it's about, like myth and history and all of these kind of just all of the ways that these stories are universal and these stories are kind of timeless in some ways. And this is just really spectacularly rendered. And I think, we don't think about his black and white work that much.
No, not at all. And this is 14 by 18 too, the board. So it's a really large piece.
Yeah.
Huh. And I hate to say it, I have not seen the enchantment book, so I guess I should put that on my list. I love Boris.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I think that it's good that you haven't seen all the books yet. There's still things to look forward to. Yeah.
All right, now let's see. The next one is
another Boris from Enchantment. I think I just wanted people to know that there are two, because it's really rare to even see one. So the fact that they're two popping up in the same auction. Yeah. I didn't want somebody to not know and call me up a week from Wednesday being like, why didn't you tell me? You have no excuse.
Right. Well, these are both really nice. Was this one frame too? You can put them right. You can pick them both up, and
It's
put 'em on
true. Yeah, the frames even complement each other.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Well, that's very cool. I mean, like you said, you don't see Boris pen and ink work too often.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, and in some ways the works feel so different, but in some ways, yeah, I mean, just like spectacular anatomy, spectacular musculature, like, and spectacular faces.
yeah, no, I agree. I like them a lot. Yeah, and if you're, paintings are in a totally different market. At the end of the day, the prices and everything. So,
Yeah.
if you can't afford a painting, this is definitely your way in. Although I think this piece is going to do really well. It's looking at that. I'll put that on a watch list and see where that ends up because I have no idea. I've never. I'm sure there's probably good examples on Heritage for pen and ink pieces by Boris. I've just never researched it.
Yeah, they're comparatively thin on the ground. So
Mhm.
yeah.
All right, then we have Enrich, and I knew there was going to be some red cloaks coming up. So this is we've got 3 red cloaks in this one.
Yeah. I mean, this one's just, you know, dark and spooky and so of its time. Let's I don't remember off the top of my head exactly what the year this one is. What
I
is
think
the
it's
exact year in this?
77.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. And like it's so of, that kind of moment where occultism is everything. And yeah, I love the way that like it's just all fading into the murky black, except for her with a light source that I can't entirely figure out, but that's on purpose. And yeah, it's just it's the most dramatic. It's the most like dramatic version of him that I think you're going to come across.
Yeah, no, it's. Do you think the artists even at 77, they're feeling a little of the Frazetta influence on certain things as far as
Oh,
poses, characters,
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
I mean, I would have to assume by that point there's enough of his material out there that people have been looking at, and that's gotta, you know, the work's resonating with every notable creator of at that time, and Enric, being one of them. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I mean, I think you're already in the point where, you've got people hiring going like, get me a cheap Frazetta, get me a young Frazetta, like I can't
right.
possibly get him, but can you do me, can you do a
That's where
Frazetta
Ken
for me? You
Kelly
can
comes in, right?
definitely, yeah,
And others.
exactly.
And
Yeah,
what are the I think it's 13 by 13. Is that what I was reading?
I
Let's
believe you're
see. Yep, 13 by 13. Published cover, German edition, the Blue Star from 1977.
yeah,
There you go. Der Blow Stern or
yeah.
Plow. Who knows?
And that's
Uh,
really interesting to me that like that, I mean, that's just like getting into the illustration and book geekiness of it all that like, they're like just, that they knew that they were going to just suffocate this beautiful work in all of that text and just, have it like so small on the cover. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? It's not like
Yeah.
but it's 1977, and
Well,
it's probably very appropriate for the time,
yeah,
unfortunately.
I mean, and a lot of the things that are happening are that the brands are differentiating themselves from
Mm,
one another because like you have the artist you're choosing and the art you're choosing, and then you also have your brand identity. So a lot of times you see that with paperbacks in specific that people want all their paperbacks to look nice next to each other on the wall, so they like their spines are very uniform, the look of the books is very uniform because you want to give people a feeling that if you pick that up, this is the sort of reading experience you're going to get. And the illustration, it's maybe my favorite part, but it's like one element of the design.
that's interesting. So they're, it's kind of identifying with the publishers a bit, almost as much as the artist making the work for it. But it makes
Yeah,
sense. I mean, I mean, as businesses go through the different cycles, I'm sure everybody was probably focused on that, a little bit
yeah,
more branding and a little less on the imagery.
yeah,
But here you go, Rowena piece, very underrated painter, in my mind. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a piece by Rowena that I didn't like and didn't make me, look at it, look more deeply at, at the characters or the scene. She just always had a great way of capturing a moment, and her colors were always vibrant. And even in this piece, it's odd, a woman on a gargoyle, but it's beautiful.
yeah. This one I think is really special, and yeah, I mean, again, like the woman on the gargoyle, and is she giving the gargoyle the magic to take off? Is she stuck? Like it's so ambiguous, and I love, just like all of the different shading on the gargoyle, and just, yeah, the sky that's on fire. There's so many things going on, and yeah, this one became, one of her really popular fantasy images in her fantasy cards. And I believe that it was originally proposed as a heavy metal cover, but I don't think it got produced. But it makes sense. You look at it and you go, oh, that totally would have worked. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what the whole story is of that element of it, but it's definitely one of her really recognizable images for people who, have been familiar with her career.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, the colors are great. The skin tone on the female figure is awesome. I
Yeah.
mean, love her signature, always have. I mean, that R. I mean,
Yeah, and the
and
placement of it, like, there's no detail that wasn't thought through.
right, right. Yeah, everything I read about her, she's a very interesting woman. So, uh, yeah. But at any rate, this is great. I I'll probably put this on my watch list too because I have no idea what her market is like either.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's still, she's one of those people who I think, she's still quite, like, under the money of, when you think about how good she is, how much a part of this moment in time, of this movement she is, like, how just truly, you know, truly significant the books she was working on are. She did so many of the, like, Anne McCaffrey books. Is she's just a meaningful artist, and I think, like I said, working at a really high level with a really unique, with a really unique process, and yeah, still really, really affordable, when in the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of this sort of art.
This piece is 30 by 20. I didn't bother to see what the other piece
It's
was. 30
similar.
by 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
And from the estate of Rowena Moore.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Mhm.
oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. I didn't know that you guys were working with the estate. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it feels really, it's really nice to get to talk about her, and and honor her, and do so on behalf of the estate. That's a nice part of this gig sometimes too.
All right. So we have a Robot Wars painting, acrylic and airbrush. So this is from a movie poster as well.
That is, yeah, this is, I mean, and again, it's one of those things where when you look at it, you can sort of, you can imagine it. You can imagine the text overlays, and yeah, and
Mm,
it's a very cool, yeah, very cool mech battle, and, like, just also just, I feel like it just speaks to so many of the things that are the theme of this sale. It's got so many of the, it's got, like, you're thinking about the latte covered land and the space in the background, and you know first you had, why are these humans saving each other, and now you have, why are these robots fighting.
yeah, the guys in the burned out tank I think they're cheering them on.
It's true. But
But then
which
again,
one?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a
Yeah,
city far in the distance. There's this pyramid shaped thing. I mean, who knows? But But Stingray's bidding on this one, so that's all we need to know. So, yeah, no, that's a cool piece. Definitely. I mean, the
Yeah,
colors are fun. I mean, it does look airbrushed. It's vibrant. The purple mountains,
yeah,
right up against that orange red burning skyline is just, it's cool.
it's true. If you took just from the Purple Mountains up, you could totally see this on the side of somebody's van.
Absolutely. With a wizard or something beside it.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. But Stingray does say that the movie was so bad. Okay, well, doesn't that have to be a good movie? Weren't we just talking a little bit earlier about the cover not matching what the
Yeah.
story was? But yeah, no, no,
Exactly. I mean, it's so bad, but if I had walked by the theater and this had been the poster, I might have gone to see it anyway. Yeah.
right, right. And you might have walked out a little disappointed, but
Yeah.
that's all right. A 93 film, is that what this says? 1993 on the art, that's for sure.
Yeah.
My camera has decided to flicker. I'm
Yeah.
going to switch it over to my other camera because I can't stand watching that thing do that. And nope, I'm a little more gray, but I'm not flickering. I'll take that. So no, this is cool. I like the image. It is pretty neat. But it would have been nice to see the logo or
Yeah.
something on this piece as an example. But sounds like Stingray is very familiar with it. So
Yeah.
yeah. But here we go. We just, Jurassic Park, The Lost World commercial movie poster, 1997 from Mick McGinty.
Yeah. And I mean, I love Mick McGinty's dinosaurs. Yeah. And and the commercial movie posters, those are the ones that, when you went into Spencer's Gifts and you flip through the rack, those are, those are the ones you would see there. So that's what that means, which is just, so I've met a couple of people who, they have such that shock of like, this was over my bed when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
because these were the ways we were getting to reminisce about these films in real time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very graphic.
Yeah.
you know, uh, yeah, that for whatever it is, is it a duck-billed? I don't know. Whatever he is, he didn't stand a
Yeah,
chance. I mean, come on,
I believe you.
it's if
Whatever.
one T-Rex is bad, two you give it up. See, this is I'm all about turning and running, or just giving in. That's my mantra tonight. That's for sure. Um, but no, this is a very nice piece. Acrylic and airbrush, 1997. Oh, see, I don't know why dinosaurs, Rich, but you do. I'm glad.
I
We're
mean,
focused.
does he, or is he just saying stuff?
Oh, who knows? Rich, well,
Yeah.
Rich has worked in animation. He's probably animated a few dinosaurs here or there, or,
Yeah.
so he may have some firsthand knowledge about
Yeah.
these dinosaurs. I
I
did it,
think
Mark.
also anybody knows where easy marks, they could say just about any sort of dinosaur and be like, yeah, totally.
Hmm.
That sounds like a dinosaur.
Yeah. And Marcus, you're right. I would have turned around and ran. So don't. I'm not
You
gonna.
would have been
I'm not
caught.
out there.
Their legs look
That's right. I'm
way
not going to
stronger.
outrun. I might have had a chance with one, but not two. Come
Yeah.
on, two. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Let's see. He went to Sheridan with Steve Spaz Williams. He animated the T-Rex in Jurassic. Okay, cool. See, so you do know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, here you go. Now this item it is the top bid, probably tracked item in this
Yeah.
auction so far. So
Yeah, I
this
believe
is
right now, yeah, it's the top lot in the sale right now. It's definitely the top track. And it's not stuff that comes up, like we were talking about, at the top of our conversation, you were talking about, games related pieces, feeling really resonant right now, and they really do. And they, you know, people, when they get them, they're not letting them go. Like all the collectors who have them, they're not coming up a lot. So when ones come up, they're pretty exciting. And this is, really exciting to people. So yeah, this is a White Dwarf magazine cover for Games Workshop. In case we buried the lead on that.
we did, yeah, from
Yeah,
1989. Les Edwards is the artist, and
yeah,
you're right. I mean, this stuff doesn't come up hardly ever. And, it's a lot like stuff from Dragon Magazine, right? I mean,
Mhm.
that, it's a little bit
Yeah.
earlier than White Dwarf, of course, but that stuff, you just don't see it too often. And it's so nostalgic. I think if
Yeah.
anybody, maybe before people started, realizing like, they want to own a piece of comic book artwork, I think people who were into Dungeons and Dragons and any kind of the role playing games from this era, they were doing it because they love the art, and then what that art, the imaginative scenarios and things they put them into. And I
Yeah.
just think that, so it just stands to reason that, this stuff is, when it's in somebody's collection, they bought it because of the nostalgic factor, and they're never going to let it go. I mean, that's why
Yeah.
I'll never, I always joke, I want a Willingham, dwarf with a battle axe spot illustration. That's all I want. And I'll never be able to get it because there's probably 3 or 4 of them out there, and probably, 1 or 2 guys have them, and they're never going to let them go. They're going to
It's
go to their
true.
graves with them. So I've resigned myself to the fact that I will never own a piece of gaming illustration artwork from that era that I want, right? I have a few things that I've owned from that time period, but nothing that I really want to have.
Yeah. I think, if you keep saying it, yeah.
I'm gonna keep
I've
saying
never
it.
seen I've
That's
never
true.
seen manifesting work for me, but
But we
you
are
just
gonna
keep
see that
saying it.
Shannara piece by the Hildebrandt brothers in a little bit, and it's it's a kind of a black and white tonal piece. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, that's kind of the same era. I mean, right after I probably read Lord of the Rings, I read the first Shannara book, and I loved them. I had to read them all. Terry Brooks
Yeah.
was just an amazing author, and so just seeing that, I'm like, holy crap!
I
I should
yeah.
try for that one.
Yeah, we'll talk about that piece when we're looking at
We
that
will
piece, but
talk about
I
it when we get there.
love that piece.
Isn't that it? I know
So,
it's amazing. But see, the thing is, the
yeah.
fact that we're talking about it, how amazing it just means I'll never, I don't stand a chance. But Ron Miller is a very well known illustrator from this
Yeah.
era. Very clean work. I'm sure that's why Ron got a lot of their work appeared in a lot of different publications back in during this era, and deservedly so. I mean, it
Yeah.
just it fit the bill. It was very very detailed, and I think you actually picked a couple pieces by
I have a couple I have a
Ron.
couple of pieces from Ron. He's also really um he's really knowledgeable. He's really kind. Just so everybody knows, and he really he's a space artist. Like uh this is for Kim Stanley Robinson piece, and for Kim Stanley Robinson book. And he did a lot of work that has to do with science fiction, space travel. He did some work that involves Dune. He did a lot of sci-fi covers, but he also is just a space artist. So he's getting all of the details right. He's getting the atmospheric details about how like the air is going to look on another planet, the points of light that are hitting this character because of where the moons of the planet would actually be, like all of those details that make it feel just mm, but you still get that sense of imagination, but you also get this sense of groundedness because like he's thinking it through from the science. And so I love this. I also am a huge Kim Stanley Robinson fan, so I was excited to have something related to one of his works in the sale. And yeah, I really like this. And yeah, I think I also the other Ron Miller piece I picked out has the craziest story. So yeah.
This one right here.
Yeah, this one right here. So Ron Miller's still working. This is a very recent piece. It's called A Scene on Pluto. That's exactly what it is. It's a scene on Pluto. And hiding in the bottom right corner, there's a postage stamp. And Ron also created that postage stamp. And that postage stamp was from this series that we did that we had, the USPS, that was about space exploration. And basically, Ron did this, and it said not yet Pluto, not yet explored, as like a reminder that NASA's mission wasn't done. And then essentially, like, there's a lot of steps in between, and it actually lays it out in in the listing a little more if you're interested. But basically, like they taunted the space program into like actually getting off their butts and exploring Pluto, and then a little postage stamp with that crossed out goes into space to explore Pluto. So
That's wonderful. I mean,
yeah,
this is a nice piece, and I thought it was maybe a typo that it was 2024 when I first saw that,
yeah,
but the lighting on this is great. I mean,
yeah.
it's a beautiful painting.
Yeah, and I mean, and one thing I love about like I said, this sale has a lot of space art, and I think that we talk about like what the figures are doing, what the subjects are doing in pieces, and sometimes there are these scenes that um, you know they don't have humans or aliens or animal subjects like visible in them, but you still get that true storytelling sense.
Hmm. Well, I mean, yeah, if I'm doing the math right, they're 70. How old are they? I guess the artist is 78. Yeah, wow. Doing very great work.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, that's really cool. Aren't there a few other pieces by Ron in the
Yeah,
auction?
there are a few other pieces by him in the auction
Okay.
too. Yeah.
I don't think I picked one, but we'll find
Yeah.
out. Maybe no, I think I did pick one actually. Uh,
Oh,
all right. So John Berkey, all right?
yeah.
This is really nice, and it's on a 21 by 15 board. So a
Yeah.
very striking image.
Yeah. Just the right size. You can find a
Yeah.
place for it on your wall, but then big enough that when your friends come over, they'll see it and say, "What's that?" Yeah. But yeah, no, I love this. I love how big this ship is. I love all of like his blue on blue on blue on blue. And yeah, there's nothing that's not awesome about it. Yeah, I love the rainbow shooting out from the back to propel
Yeah.
the spacecraft forward. So.
And this was it was in 1998, and it was a paperback cover.
Yeah,
It
and
was
I know. Yeah, so this comes. It came, through Berkey and through his rep, who he was repped by this gallery in Minneapolis because he was not too far from there. So when I was first kind of getting into illustration and selling illustration, and I was living in Minneapolis, you could still like walk by the gallery that had Berkey's in it sometimes, and that was so fun for me. That was, mm,
That would have been awesome
mm,
to see a whole gallery full of his work. Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't. I don't think I've ever seen one in person, actually.
Oh God, we got to change that. They're
We do. We
they're
definitely
so
do.
good. I think both their styles are very different, but both him and Rowena had this way of kind of like working pretty flat and pretty tight that still just like sucks you in. It just like draws you in. Yeah.
Well, it's incredible. I'm doing probably
Yeah.
doing very well as it should. And then Bob Eggleton.
Yeah, so Bob Begelton, he's another one of those, he's another one of those the the world of sci-fi art would not be the world of sci-fi art without him. He's won so many awards. He's just a huge figure in the hobby too. Like another guy who's a great guy who's like gonna always be kind of just promoting the whole genre, not just himself, and just is so good. If we're talking about great spacecrafts, here's another one of those really great spacecrafts. You're talking about, a great science and all of the things that, make space feel really captivating for people. You've got, you've just kind of got all of those things, and it's so much storytelling without any figures.
Yeah, no, I'm a huge fan of Bob's. So I've seen, he
Yeah.
sets up at IX almost every year. So
Yeah.
I have seen a lot of his work.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, he just, yeah, he's got it, right? He can paint Godzilla. He can paint a, a beautiful shoreline with waves crashing in. I mean, you name it. He's
Yeah.
just very talented. And you're right. He's been honored numerous times in his career. He's a character.
Yeah.
But he's yeah. I have a painting by him. He painted the daughter I'm picking up at 2 a.m. tonight. I got a painting of his right up on the wall right there that he
Oh,
did.
that's not.
Yeah, believe it or not, yeah, my daughter Gwen, they used to do like modeling at IX, and so someone would bring in costumes, like cosplay costumes and stuff like that, just period costumes for them to. Some people would paint while they were there, but like Bob, he would photograph, so he would just photograph all that, and I was just surprised. The next year I showed up, he didn't tell me he had painted Gwen. I just
Oh my.
came in and I saw the painting on the wall, and I mean, either he knew it. Like, how am I not going to buy a painting of my own daughter, right?
Yeah.
It's like you can't not do that. So yeah, I, he gave me a good price on it.
Yeah.
But it was nice. So I like him a lot. He's fun, and he's definitely he posts a lot on social media. There's not a day that goes by where you don't get some bit of wisdom from Bob on Facebook. And I know you have a few other pieces by Bob in this auction too.
Yeah.
So Fabian,
This is
uh,
yeah. This is not one of this is a Fabian, and I mean, God, you gotta love a Fabian. Yeah,
I
like
do. I've actually
getting
got two
that.
Fabians in my collection. I mean, just such an amazing illustrator, and so much detail of black, rich blacks, very imaginative. Whether they're drawing creatures or in this case, these some kind of spaceships, but they look like they're flying too. I mean, it's cool.
Yeah, and I mean, they look like they're like what are they look like they're flying, but what are they flying through?
Yeah.
That's the thing. It looks like like are they fly? They look like they're flying through like it could be like somebody's rib cage or a high backed fancy dining room chair. It could be anything.
Right.
Like it's wild. And this is another one where, Fabian, I don't know the exact dimensions off this, but like you think about just how much detail there is, how much shading, and it's going to be, I'm going to guess smaller than you would expect. Like the exact dimensions are,
Yeah, 5.5 by
yeah,
7.
5.5 by 7. Cause that's how he's working, and it's just like thinking about how you get that much detail into that little space, and then imagining that then it's going to be pulled down, and that's one of the reasons why I think Fabian's translate so well to the page too, because like since he's working pretty small, when it gets shrunk a little bit more, it's still, you capture a lot of that feeling.
Yeah, no, it's Fabian's just amazing.
Yeah.
This is gorgeous. Yeah, no, love their work. Marcus, we always say that it looks better in person than in the scan. But that's
That's
what's
why you
unique
got to
about.
buy it.
That's right. I mean, but when you get like that, I mean, when I'm looking at my screen, that's like the size of it. It's really small, but
Yeah.
I mean, you have to you're going to have to lean in to look at it, even when it's on your wall.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's awesome. I think most of Fabian's work, everything that I've seen, even the two pieces I own are very small. They're like 6 by 9, but a ton of detail in it.
Yeah.
It definitely packs a lot of work into small spaces.
Yeah. And I
All
just
right.
also love like so much texture, just so much texture without that much, like, we were talking in the beginning about the line work, and like, there's not that
Mhm.
much lines. There's just like, there's not, like there's shading, but like, you don't see that many like defined lines,
Yeah, I'll
comparatively.
have to. I don't the two I have. I've never put them in my calf gallery. I'll send them to you after the show.
Yeah.
I'll take some pictures of them. But they're but same thing. It's just it's all texture, tonal work, and it's just so unique and rich,
Yeah.
and it's just amazing that that he could work like that and it would still print well, for the day, right? I mean, but it's
Yeah.
just but and I can't say I've seen any of the pieces actually in print, but just the fact that he was working like that, it's very unique. But here you go, the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath paperback, cover. It was funny when I first saw it. I was like, I know that image because it's been so long since I read it. I think I probably read that book in like 80. I don't even remember when that would have been. What year was this thing? 1970. I
Yeah.
mean, I know that when I got it, I was probably in like 8th grade or something. So like, 82 or something,
Yeah.
but such a crazy image, right? I mean, it's, but, I don't know. It's got a
I
lot
mean,
of,
this is where
lot.
we're really getting into the surreal, like it's like
Mhm.
we're really like talking about just, if you're thinking about like surrealism in terms of, what we consider the art trend, and also just like the real disparity of all of those feelings of like those sunny fairy tale colors and just the horror elements. It it's something entirely else.
It is, but you can tell it's it's multiple stories because
Yeah.
it just nothing seems to fit together yet. It's all been made to fit together.
Yeah.
And I think
So
that's what works well with it, right? At the end of the day, is what you're in store for something unique when you see this cover. As weird as it is, as colorful as it is, yeah, no, it makes me. I actually think I still have a copy of this book somewhere too. Uh,
so when you look at it, um, does any of the things you see remind you of a particular story more than any of the others?
Not, I mean, the funny thing is not really the cats. I mean, if I go back, because I haven't read the book since then too, right? So we're
Yeah.
talking over 40 years ago. But no, but I do think that something about the cats. I can't remember exactly what though. But the rest of it, nope.
Yeah.
The gilded city in the background. I mean, I know that there's a whole lot of symbolism in his writing, but yeah, the zebra. I guess I don't remember that either. But either way, yeah, I I'm sorry, Marcus. Yeah, at any rate, it's a cool piece. And it's like
Yeah.
you see something like this. It's like those, and I forget the name of the artist who did those Lord of the Rings covers from Valentine books or whatever from the '60s. What I'm talking about, where they were
I
just.
know exactly what you're talking about.
I can't
Yeah.
think of the
Yeah.
artist's name now, but it's funny
Yeah.
because that artist, I actually have a. I was always trying to buy the posters from that, and on eBay. So even to this day, I still get like every other day an email from eBay trying to remind me to buy that poster, but I have it in her name, so I get to see all the other artwork that she did.
Yeah.
But again, it's like does when the cover doesn't necessarily properly match the story, sometimes it's okay. It made you buy the book anyway.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it also like a lot of these stories, and like we're saying, like, stories where there's multiple editions of a book, like they tell you a lot about how like people in those times want you to like experience something. So it's like there's all of these blogs nowadays that, are, and I'm sure there's now TikTok videos because there aren't even blogs anymore, where they're just going to show you, 45 covers of the same book and take you through the whole history. And, I think about that a lot. I think about like reading books that had multiple illustrators as a kid and trying to figure out like which one was mine, which is
Mhm,
my version, which is my vision of like Alice in Wonderland, like what does she look like in
exactly.
my head? Yeah.
And yeah, Chuck Arnold's right. It's Barbara Remington is
Yes.
the
Yeah.
the artist. Yeah,
Yeah.
and very very unique. And when I read the Lord of the Rings, it was those copies because like one of my
Yeah.
uncles had those old beat up copies, and I don't I actually think I finally donated them to a Goodwill like a few years back. Well, when I moved here to Florida, but I had them forever because I just loved the images. They were just so cool, even though they didn't really, uh, you know tie well to the stories at all. They were just cool and they looked good together. And they made two great posters from her artwork, right? I mean, that to this day, I wouldn't mind having one of those on my wall.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've talked enough about this piece, but it is amazing. But the artist, how do we Gallardo?
So yeah, so you know what? I'm gonna admit I know exactly that artist. I know his name. I do not know how to pronounce it. That
Okay.
is my bad. Um, yeah. But yeah, but this is an early example of his work. We have a later example in the sale as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I don't think I pulled out.
All right. Well,
'Cause yeah, now we're here.
here's the painting I'd love to own, right here,
Yeah.
by the Hildebrandt brothers from the Sword of Shannara, first book
Yeah.
in the series. This is from '77.
Yeah, that's from
77.
77. And like, we write up about our favorite pieces in a sale before the sale, and send a little email out that some of you might get. But it's this is one of the pieces I chose because there's so many things that I think are amazing about it. Like, first of all, it's just cool. Second of all, on the note I've been on all night, it's so much storytelling without actually any, any of the, characters necessarily. But of course, Skull Mountain is a character, like the setting in all great high fantasy, the setting is a character, and I don't think you can see that more powerfully than here. And, especially like you think about Shannara, which is like a world that goes on for 35 books or whatever. And this is like, one of your first introductions to how this world feels, in the first book. And yeah, I don't know. It's just so cool and so menacing and like so different than the Lord of the Rings stuff. And, the like, but also, you can tell that without doing the one, they wouldn't have been able to do the other.
Right. No, I love that book, as a start. And yeah, that's why it just makes me wonder how can I try to, it doesn't matter. I can throw some bids on there and I still won't get it. But again, it's a Hildebrandt, and and it's from a book that I really enjoy. I think I read that book like 3 times over the course of 10 years from the time I first read it, and I just loved it. Storytelling, it was an easy read. It was like reading a Stephen King book. It's like where you could sit down and literally read it in a day and a half or less. It was just such a wonderful book. And yeah, so it's the nostalgia thing here, right? That it's got me.
Yeah, well, it's funny because also, like when it came out, it was such like people were like, oh, it's kind of, Lord of the Rings retread. But I don't think anybody ever says, oh, Lord of the Rings, that was just the easiest read. It just reminded me of Stephen King. I mean, they're great, but it's like, it's so funny that it's like, it's somebody, like, I think that's underselling the book, but it's also somebody like telling you like, it's you getting to see somebody like, bringing the essence of why they love fantasy, to the page, and just making like whole generations of more people fall in love with fantasy. It also was, one of the first books that like helped identify the whole Del Rey publishing imprint, and like that was on purpose, which really changed, really, really kind of like exploded the genre too. So I just think this is a cool work, and it's an important work on a bunch of levels. And I hope that I get all the other illustrations from sort of Shannara in the coming years.
I hope you do too. But yeah, no, I'll have to think about this.
Yeah.
But anyways, I love this piece, and I'm actually going to take this tab and move it over someplace else, so I have to think about it a little bit longer after we're done here. Next up, where we got? We've got this is Courtney Skinner. And
Tom Kidd. Yeah.
Yep.
And this, I think I meant to have this nearer to where I had that first Gothic romance, because I think this is I love this moment in time where they're starting to do like the what would you call them, like the realistic fantasies where they are doing the inserts of kids in America today. Like, you just have that one character with genes in the time travel, in the fantasy. And I feel like it's such a moment, and it's so cool. And it's got like 17 genres all fighting with each other for prominence on the, like on the art. And I can't ever decide which one I like the best.
Yeah, and the color palette's pretty awesome too.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not afraid of throwing a lot of different colors on here, but carrying it throughout. The pink in her shirt to the sky. I mean, that tree is such a rich orange. So is his vest. But yeah, no, I think this is wonderful.
Yeah, and then the tree is like, so like, I mean, the tree feels very the tree feels very Hildebrandt-y in terms of like you can also see like the you can go to the top and you can see the ways in which like there's like this kind of Maxfield Parrish-y influence. It's just got a lot
Mhm.
of different styles going on in it. It's and I mean, you know, it's by a team, so you can really feel that too.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think Parrish until you said it. Now I can't not see it.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's the tree, right? Yeah, the tree all by itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is yeah, this is wonderful, and it's from a paperback book as
Yeah.
well.
And a paperback book that just my God, look at this just true, you know, it's the true disrespect they showed to that tree,
Yeah.
which to me is the favorite part, you know, like,
Hmm. Yeah, they did really ruin it, didn't they? Uh,
yeah.
yeah, that's funny. Looking at them back. Yeah, that's oh well. Well, it's a very eye-catching logo, though. No earthly
Exactly.
sun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't say I've read that book either, you know, like
No.
we've talked about a few books that we've read and loved. This one has yet to make it through my TBR.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So this one I know is getting a lot of attention too. This is done in 2007,
Yeah.
and
See,
Romus Kukalis.
yeah.
Kukalis. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with the name either, but the work is beautiful.
Yeah. This is another artist who their work just does not come up very much, but yeah, but it is so good. Like just the level of detail. And I feel like if we had saved this one for the very end and just had spent the whole rest of the time we were talking, just, you know, secretly flagging all of the things that are, you know, being referenced and and you know referenced in this work and are influences of this work, you know, you can just see, you know, like the amount of kind of like taking seriously the responsibility for keeping this, you know, kind of keeping this genre vibrant. And this is just like because by 2007, if you're, you know, if you're doing this sort of art, this is you know you're standing in the footsteps of history because like everything's gone digital, everything's gone to photography, you know, like this is a really it's a really different job to have in 2007 than in like 1957 to, you know, be an illustrator, to be a book illustrator. And so I just feel all of that. This just you can just feel like it's beautiful, it's powerful, and then it feels really rich and full.
Yeah. I mean, everything on this painting is believable. Her hair, her,
Yeah.
the attention to detail in her dress, does, and then even the characters in the background, the color choices he's used for for the skin tone on all of these demons and whatnot. It's just, it's wonderful. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really, I mean, what's the size of this thing?
Well, this one's
Mm.
pretty, yeah, pretty substantial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
21 by 30.
Yeah.
Wow. No, it's a great painting. And I think
Yeah.
probably like the second highest bid on, item so far in the auction or somewhere around in there, but
Yeah, it's got yeah,
fantastic.
it's got a lot of attention, yeah, and I mean, and rightly so, you know, like, it's just really a thing of beauty, and then this is a thing of fun, yeah,
So this was what was the name of it? It's Wake for a Lady. Yeah, that's there you
yeah,
go.
and this is, like
Tongue
it's
in
funny
cheek.
because like, we just went from, you know, like, what I was saying about paperbacks is that, you know, we don't really, um, illustrated paperbacks by, you know, by 2007 are, they're not commonplace, and this is really one of the first, you know, paperback covers that you'd be able to get your hands on. This is from 1946, which is really the early years of the whole genre. So I really like that we're covering the gamut. You know, we had early pulp, we have really, you know, we have really like up to date fantasy, we have early paperback art. We're really just giving you a real sense of the scope of this sort of illustration. And yeah, I mean, this is so fun.
Yeah, and it's they don't give you a whole lot on the for the cover either, just the title, and
Yeah.
you have to buy into it
I
right there. But
I mean, what do
it is
you
fun.
need to know? What do you need to know?
No, you don't.
She's not
Yeah.
dead. She's playing a trick. She's doing something, you know.
Yeah.
All sorts of mystery is going to ensue.
Hmm. No, it's a great image. It really
Yeah.
is. And like you said, it's a interesting piece along with other ones from this era too that make up. Again, how many pieces are in this auction? They're like 120,
125.
125.
125. Yeah.
So it's just cool to just the variety that's in there. I mean,
Yeah.
again, we have a Shannara, a Hildebrandt brothers piece that I'm going to keep looking at because I've got
Yeah.
over there. Along with just so many unique things as those the pen and ink Boris pieces
Yeah.
are just amazing as well. I mean, it's just again a fun variety. When I saw this, I was just surprised. The
Yeah.
set it's really really great and just shows that there's a the interest in illustration art is definitely growing, and you
Yeah.
guys are coming into it
Yeah.
definitely at the right time to be drawing a lot of attention to it.
Yeah.
Now this one, Stanley Zuckerberg,
Yeah.
and this is from 1962. And I picked another one by Stanley because I even though I think this is the better of the two, the other one was so good I
I
could
mean,
not pick.
I think it's hard. I think there's, there's actually like three in the sale that I think
Hmm.
are spectacular. But yeah, I mean, I love like I love the symbolism of this, like I love that like all of you think about, I don't know, like that first paperback we just looked at, that it's early and it's eye-catching and it's fun, and it doesn't, what you said, it doesn't tell you anything about the book. All you know is it's fun. This tells you what this book is going to feel like, hopefully. I mean, maybe it's not going to live up to it, but this is giving you, like a real, pulp fiction, broken down, gritty noir vibe that if you don't get it, you're going to be disappointed. And yeah, like the work that oversized cigarette is doing to just, draw your eye through the whole scene, like it's trying to hypnotize you. It's just out of this world.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's got a little bit of lipstick on it too. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, look, you have to kind of get it in its entirety. I mean, just that blue up at the top there for where the smoke is winding up. I
Yeah.
mean, everything. It's just the palette's beautiful. It's washed out. It's loose, and but boy, what an amazing piece of art. I mean, I was blown away when I saw this one. I mean, this could be a modern Bill Sienkiewicz cover, I mean, kind
Oh
of a
yeah.
thing. I mean,
Mhm.
there's clear, clearly an influence there, but this is a beautiful piece.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I know. My picks are at the end, so my
Yeah.
Zuckerberg is not in line here with this one. So,
Oh yeah. Now we
maybe
got a
James
now we
Bond.
got a James Bama, which I think, I just he's somebody, people are familiar with his work a lot of times, and this is just this one. I think I chose it because this feels like a sci-fi cover. You would just be like, this is clearly a sci-fi cover, and then it's not. It's a book about science. Like it's like
Is it
there's
really
just,
okay? Because this is
yeah,
the Naked Ape paperback cover,
yeah.
1973.
And the Naked Ape
Interesting.
is like, I believe that like he's actually a scientist talking about,
Interesting.
humans as a species. And so I just think this is fascinating that they chose James Bama, who's, known for his paperback art, known for science
Yeah.
fiction, known for his known for his storytelling, to make something that feels really dry, very interesting.
Yeah, Doc Savage, right? I mean, and
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
yeah, I think it's a beautiful painting,
Yeah.
definitely. But yeah, but
And I mean,
it's great
I'm sure,
though.
I'm sure he's also like using Steve Holland in some way or another, like it's still Bama. But
Right,
yeah.
of course.
Yeah. Oh, but
Well,
here's your yellow. Here's your yellow
okay,
piece.
all right, we got it. Finally,
You got it.
doggone it. Well, they since it's no, okay, well that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah. All right. See, I was wrong. I
Oh
thought there
yeah,
were
but it's
none.
not the Man of Bronze. I thought it wasn't too. Yeah, so it's interesting. It's
Hmm.
but, yeah, and then we've got a body. So I feel like just like there is so much. These are kind of like the kings of paperback art. So I I think, I couldn't be talking about all the great paperback art in the sale and not be talking about the fact that we've got some really strong, interesting Avadi examples in this one. I love the composition. Again, I love the kind of like the moodiness of it. I love just all the little details in all of those ripples in the clothing. That's just somebody who's like, I'm gonna always do the most.
Right. I mean, yeah. She doesn't, she needs to, they both could use a little ironing in their clothing,
Yeah.
but hey, they don't need it because I mean, it just comes across so well
Yeah.
here. And I
I
love
mean,
the composition is great, right? With just the window frame kind of keeping them together in a place without, and then you don't need any other details and it just skips
yeah,
it all and it works perfectly.
exactly. You know exactly where they are, and they're just honestly not anywhere all at the same time.
Yeah. Wow. This is from 67.
Yeah.
Nope. Now, is this the only piece by Avadi?
I think we've got two others.
Oh, here we go. There's another one. Wow.
Yeah. And yeah, they're
Oh,
all
there you
really
go.
different. They're all really, really different. So
Yeah, I almost picked this one, but then I knew you had the other one. But again, they're all,
yeah.
you're right. I'm gonna click on it anyway because I just
Yeah.
thought this was
Yeah, do
just
it.
a cool design, right? I mean, with the characters and there's there's great story going on in here, and again, look at how I mean the textures and the
Yeah.
clothing. I mean, yeah, this is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's just those faces. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And yeah,
wow.
just like just how much detail there is in certain aspects, and just how gestural sort of like the space that they're inhabiting is. Yeah.
Yep, nope, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, 1963. So being
Yeah.
chased down by a car. It looks like Harry Bennett, Alone at
Yeah.
Night paperback cover.
And yeah, and and what I love about this is, that it just like the way the headlights are made to be a monster, and the way like you could just feel her getting like pulled in like it's a black hole. You can just see just like again all of these different things that are happening in history and happening in culture, just like influencing each other. And then also like how it's got like almost like a monk, you could tell where it's referencing fine art. And it's just like it feels so simple when you first look at it, and then the more you look at it, the more kind of just notes you can see about why it's being depicted the way it's being depicted. And at first I look at it and I go, oh, that's just cool and it works. And then the more I think about it, the more I go, that's why it works. And then if you click on the book cover itself and you see how it comes together, you go, oh, they did that thing where they cropped it a little differently, and B, you can also kind of tell, that he was thinking about how it was going to be laid out on the page as he was doing it in the really interesting ways that I love thinking about illustrators working.
Yeah, it was definitely cropped a little bit too
Yeah.
much, but beautiful image. Very,
Yeah.
very dark and
Yeah.
kind of haunting. There, that red on the ground. I mean, it's just yeah, very, very interesting painting from 63.
Yeah.
Kind of curious. So a little bit larger, 18 by 13. Yeah.
And here
Uh,
we have another, I think this is 63 as well, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And this is so this is again, like the things that we've noticed in the last couple, we're going to notice again, where like there's the space itself is really, really just kind of understated and imagined, and
Mhm.
like in a very, and like what's everything that's happening is happening because the characters, as opposed to what we were talking about before, where it kept being like there's no characters, now it's all characters. And this is from this there was a real, one of the things that Pulp Fiction was doing is making available, stories that weren't getting told other ways. It was a very like subcultural genre, and one of the threads in it was there was all this like lesbian pulp fiction, and so this is from a lesbian pulp book, which was, these were the only places where you were going to be able to explore things that weren't kind of considered culturally acceptable in the mainstream. And so you can look at it one way and go, oh, this is really this is tawdry, this is lurid, this is just sex appeal. And then you can look at it another way and you go, oh, this is people trying to like actually push the boundaries of the culture. And when as soon as you learn how to read these sorts of illustrations, to go, oh, this is from the 1960s, and there are two women, and one of them's in one of them's like they're in lingerie. You can see something like this and know it immediately that like it's going to be for one of these books. And like there's this whole kind of like secret world that's happening in a lot of different genres with a lot of different storytelling that you kind of do get to learn about as soon as you learn how to like recognize the covers. So that's something that yeah. So what does that say? Oh yeah, Women Without Men is a forbidden
Women
variation
Without Men and a forbidden variation of the Game of Love.
Yeah.
No, well, I don't know. I remember, all I can say is I do remember my uncles had a lot of books like this on the bookshelf, that as that young me had no idea what they were about. But, but yeah, I mean, there was a lot of that out then, so.
Yeah, and some of it was being bought up by your uncle, and some of it was being bought up by people who like, that was where they were starting to see themselves in books,
Yeah. Stingray, I have no idea what else my uncle's like.
I don't want to know any more about his uncle.
Right.
I think
that's it right there. We're stopping right there.
we got 13 minutes left. We don't want to
Exactly.
spend on Bill's.
Oh man. Sorry, Uncle George. Let's see. Where are we going to from here? Oh wait.
There you go. So it did. Yeah. I knew I had
it in there twice.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I still like it.
No, I do
oh my
too.
God, and yeah,
Because I think this was the last. This was the last piece you sent, and I thought this was a great one to end it on. I mean, I love it. With the reminder. Well, I love. Again, it's back to I know that there was text on this image. that they had to place it somewhere, and yet this image is just. I love the three characters together. I mean, the jilted lover, the guy is having way too much fun taking these photographs, and you just don't know where this is going to end, and that's wonderful storytelling right there.
I know, and some people, if they did get this, they would actually, go and have an overlay for the text put in, and some people would have an overlay that tried to, paint in the background. So it's interesting. Different people enjoy pieces like this in really different ways.
There we go. But this is so detailed, though, too. I mean, again, it's it's all tonal work, but boy. Just the confidence and the brush strokes and everything on this. I mean, just his smoking jacket is it's just perfect, right? I mean, it's just amazing. These illustrations of the time. I mean, I love this.
It's true, and the fabric, the like contrast of the fabric against the way the hardness of the tripod. Like you can really see. You can really see the textural differences in those things, and we do have the tear sheet for this. So if you flip through, you can see how it translates to translates to the page, and a lot of the detail is lost, but you still do really, you really still do get a really good sense of the art.
Yeah. I mean, this stuff is great. Hurry up and shoot, the model said, before your girlfriend gets back. Yep. Hey. Guess it was a little too late. Anyway, that's awesome. I love it. But yeah, again, and the way it's printed, the original just looks so much better. I mean, at the end of the day, it's and so clean still. I mean, the fact that it just looks probably just like it did when it was painted. It's beautiful. My goodness.
Yeah, they did a really good job of keeping it out of all the hazards that we hear about every day.
64 years old.
Fire. Yeah.
All right. So what did I pick? So I like this Kelly Freas piece.
Oh yeah,
it's so nice. I mean, just again, it's back to all these funky textures and everything.
Yeah.
Whatever this machinery is behind them, or is that the city? And then that is a city, and then these eyeballs and the guys that got
Yeah.
the clothing on that guy. How imaginative is that? And there's a bear in here, guys. I didn't even realize that. I had a bear on my front porch, and we've been laughing about it for about a week. But again, and the mantis, I mean, this is just, I mean, the more I look at it, this is such a cool illustration. I mean, it was used in Analog magazine again.
Yeah.
The sepia tones, it's wonderful, man.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, it makes me think about, yeah, I didn't look at this hard or deep enough
The snail,
earlier,
I
like,
didn't notice
yeah,
this.
so many creatures. Yeah.
The more I look at this thing, the more I love it. This is great. Oh man, yeah. See, I may have to throw a bid on that one just for fun,
Yeah.
just to say I did bid on it. What did I pick next? Okay, this one, David Hardy again. This is
Oh,
Watch
yeah.
on Board. I just thought I like the kind of the magnitude of the piece. The small figures. I mean, I know this is kind of like so commonplace in fantasy landscape kind of painting and stuff, but I just liked it. I thought it worked really well. Whether this is the moon or it's Venus, who knows where the heck it is? But
I think it's
I just
Mercury. I
is
think
that what? Oh, it's
it's
Mercury. Okay,
Mercury.
there we
Yeah.
go. It actually
Yeah.
says in the title. There we go.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no,
Uh,
I mean, it's the reason. Here's the reason. The reason things become commonplace is because they work.
mhm.
Like, yeah.
So yeah, I like this one a lot. So I had to pick that one. What else did I pick? Oh, I used this one in this image in the graphic for the show, so I couldn't not pick it. A Ken Barr, like this paperback cover from 1979. I just thought it was a cool image. Colors are great. The lighting from within this temple, whatever, is just cool. I thought the male and female characters in the
Yeah.
front. I mean, it feels very comic booky, I guess, in its own way. Like Rich Larkin kind of something or other on a Marvel magazine cover. But either way, end of the day, I just like it. I mean, it's just a really fun piece.
Yeah. I agree. And I also really like the way this is another one that like you're like the more you look at it, the more you can see, like the wherever they're going to explore is like inside some sort of like snake-like creature. And the more you look at it, the more you can see like, oh, these are, this is both, what's being projected inside. And then you can also see the teeth. It's almost like, one of those images where like, do you see the old lady or the two beautiful young women first? Like it's
Mhm.
the more you look at it, the more you can just see all of these elements kind of emerging.
Agreed. And then I picked the Daryl Sweet,
Oh yeah.
right? I mean, I was like, wow, we can't overlook a Daryl Sweet piece. And again, there's a bear on this, guys. I did not do that on purpose. I just love, Daryl Sweet's just, was an amazing illustrator. I think, painted paperback covers for a lot of books that probably many of us have read. I mean, the Xanth novels, for instance,
Yeah.
were very, for me, those were books I could read in a day. They were so much fun. And I actually have a prelim by Sweet for one
Oh
of the
wow.
Xanth novels on my wall. So I've just always loved his work. I mean, it's so different. I mean, from I think of a lot of the uh, painters that I'll see at IX. I mean, his work is so soft and
Yeah.
uh, and just so detailed, and it was just always very special. And I think that I mean, you think back to those Xanth novels. I mean, those don't come on the market hardly ever, and they're just amazing. There's so they're just the
Yeah.
imagination, but the books were imaginative
Yeah.
too. But Sweet made them kind of come alive, and those covers were always so perfect.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think you're so right. Soft is exactly the word, like it's like it's not about contrast. It's about like it's about light. It's about it's about all of this, just like all of this subtlety. I'm glad
yeah,
you picked this one. Yeah. And like just the legs of this winged creature. Yeah.
right. Yeah, Daryl Sweet was amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's so nice. See, that's long. I'm gonna put a bid on that one too.
Yeah.
So the next, I had to pick a Terry Oaks. Terry Oaks,
Mhm.
has done. Now this is from Blackwater. Yeah, Blackwater
Yeah.
series. I think this is when I first, I was in one of those book clubs back in the late '80s. Buying mostly, horror and science fiction books, and the Blackwater series came out, and Terry Oakes was the illustrator for those. Now the hardcover books that came out were in black and white. They were, you know, different covers. But that, after I saw that, I could spot a Terry Oakes piece anywhere. And I've always, as you know, I mean, it's different, right? The style probably
Yeah.
isn't for everybody, but I've always enjoyed looking at Terry Oakes' artwork. I just think it's fun. It's perfect for horror related works, stories, his style. And I mean, and you know, you've probably seen a lot of his stuff. I mean, he was very prolific.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I think you're right. Like, there's so much, you know, like it's, you know, we're looking at it and it's, I mean, there's no other word. It's just the creepy factor, you know, it's just, you know, like there's
He
something
had a
unsettling about it.
he had a
Yeah.
way about it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. But find the bear. There's no bear in this one, guys. I promise. But I remember, I mean, reading those books too. I mean, they were, you know, he was a good choice to be the painter for
Yeah.
those stories. At any rate, I thought that was cool, and actually always wanted to own something by him, but I've never actually seen the right piece. If I ever saw one of the from the book club, you know, Dust
Uh-huh.
Jacket books, I would be all into trying to get one of those.
Okay.
I've never seen those. I've only seen like
Yeah.
color horror covers like that one. Now, I did pick up
I'm
Bama
making
too.
the note. I'm making the
Yes,
note. Yeah.
yeah. I just thought this, yeah, because I just thought it was fun because to me, you know, Bama, we always think of yellows and oranges and stuff, and this is like
Yeah.
the exact opposite in blue. You know, pilots in a plane, and I just thought I'm just going to show this one because it's probably not
Yeah.
going to
Well,
go for a ton of money, but if you're, you know, if you want to have a starter piece, buy him. I mean, this would probably be, you know, a good one if you want to, like, you know, if you were to start your, if you could say I've got a Bama in my collection. If this was it, that's
yeah.
okay. You know,
I mean, and
you got one.
it's nice. It's a nice one. I mean,
It
it's nice
is.
to look at. Yeah. I think it's like,
Mhm.
and I mean, I think like there's, you know, it's the, you know, it's incredibly realistic. It's like an actual, you know, approach into an actual airport, but it's
Mhm.
still, you know, there's nothing more dramatic in our actual world than flying, you know, like it's really testing the limits of what humans can do. So I agree. I think you could have Obama and do worse than this one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm ending on the Zuckerberg, and
Oh
you know,
yeah.
and I mean, of course, yours was better. I would have picked yours if you hadn't picked it. But I just thought, I just loved the interior of this one. Man, all the details in here. I love this illustration. It screams like, you know, like 1920s
Yeah.
noir, you know, crime. And when was this done? I mean, I don't know if it has it in the
It's going to be
title.
later than the 20s, but yeah, this one I don't know the exact date of it.
But
So
I love you know, the
but
color
yeah,
choices too. I mean,
it's
you
yeah,
know, browns, oranges, and tans
yeah.
make up the
It,
majority of this piece, and it works so darn well. I mean, I love it.
I mean, it feels like somebody's trying to illustrate a black and white movie in color. I
Hmm.
don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I
Yeah,
love it. I can't,
yeah,
you know, it's like an old hunting lodge. I love the fireplace, the mantle, the gun on the mantle, the old
yeah,
uh, you know, powder horn. I mean, all that stuff.
yeah,
And then yeah, there's a lot of bricks in this one too, Marcus.
yeah.
But yeah, so there you go. I think yeah, they're probably bear hunting. All right, guys.
Yeah. Okay. And you know what?
Uh,
There's even a couple. I'm just going to tell everybody there's a couple more Zuckerbergs in the sale that we didn't even get to that are also quite cool. Yeah. If you liked any of this stuff, look through the whole sale. You'll find
oh
other things
yeah,
you
you
like
know,
too.
you could almost, we could have shown them all. You know, because the one with the policeman and the woman in the mirror on the
Yeah.
back of the door, unbelievable,
Yeah.
and the group at the top of the stairs again, just
Yeah.
holy, yeah, we could have shown them all. I'm not going to show them now, but yeah, that gives everybody something to go to the site and to dig around a little bit.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg, everybody search on that, and you'll be very happy that you did. I know they're just so cool. I mean, they're
Yeah.
really just amazing pieces. Um, but yeah, so this one is ending next Tuesday,
Yeah.
and then the next major signature auction is early November. That's true.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do
That
we
is
have
actually
anything in
November
between
4th.
there?
You know, I am gonna honestly say I don't think we do. I think we might have a month with no sale.
Interesting.
It seems hard to imagine. I'm not gonna let it happen again. I promise.
Right. No, 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 you can't. But
We're gonna have a big November and December. We've got the big sale in November. In December, we have an amazing single owner sale just devoted to paperback art. I already started
oh
talking to people
wow.
about it a little bit at Comic Con. Yeah, there's just spectacular McGinnis, Moravati, um, Milton Glaser, people like stuff you've never seen, stuff I've never seen. And so I'm going to be excited
Wow.
to talk about that one when the time comes. But first, I know you mentioned Dragon Magazine. There might be some Dragon Magazine stuff in the
Ah.
November sale, some other TSR stuff.
There's
Yeah,
not a dwarf with a battle axe, is there? If you tell me that,
there's not
so,
you know what
and
though,
by Willingham.
there's still almost almost 3 weeks of consignment. So let's
Wow.
put it out in the
All
universe.
right. All
Hopefully
right.
somebody
Let's
will
keep
call me up.
trying.
Yeah.
Hey, anything by Dragon Magazine is always fun to see.
Yeah.
I mean, uh, that's why it's so great to have publications like that out there because, I mean, they, they seem to be appealing to a small group of people. At least you thought it
Yeah.
would, there wasn't a lot of us playing role-playing games back then, but it produced so much great artwork. And started
Yeah.
the careers for a lot of illustrators too. And so we should be just damn thankful that that books like Dragon existed because, yeah, I mean, artists not having an outlet to make artwork like that, they could have changed careers or something.
Yeah.
Then you have Dragon Magazine, and my goodness. At any rate, well, now my interest is piqued. I can't.
Yeah.
When does the preview start for that one?
I think things are starting to trickle up. Things are
Okay.
starting to trickle up. So yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to be one for you to look at. I'm going to put a bid on this Hildebrandt.
You
Let's throw a
should. You
number.
should.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but again, I won't get it, but yeah, that'll be fun. I just would love to see more of those pieces because that's, yeah, just looking at it now, I don't get too nostalgic about a lot of the stuff from that era, but seeing a Shannara piece like that is just
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as always, Sarah Jane, it's lots of fun getting to hang out. I'm glad, you've got a break between conventions and things coming up. So I guess you can focus on those consignments for the next signature auction. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And keep me posted if you see anything in there you think, when the preview is out, if you think should see it, send me an email
Oh,
so I
I
can
will. I
check it out
will.
right away.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Thank you
Awesome.
so much for having me. Thanks everybody for hanging out, and I can't wait to see you all next time.
Fantastic. All right, everybody. Same thing. We appreciate you hanging out. We'll be back at it again tomorrow evening. And again, enjoy the rest of your night. We'll see you again soon. Good night.